Welcome to today's video. My name is Jan Kjellstra and I'm a dairy farmer from Saskatchewan, Canada. But today I'm not actually heading to the dairy farm. I'm heading instead to the airport where I'm going to meet up with a buddy of mine and we're going to fly down to California for the World Ag Expo and hopefully a couple of farm tours. And yeah, this is the first time that I've traveled in over 2 years. I'm really excited today, and I'll let you guys know how the traveling does work out. I've heard some terrible things about delays and different rules and regulations you got to go through nowadays, but we'll see how it works out anyway. We got 3 flights to get on today, so I got to head to the airport because the plane actually does leave in about 2 hours and I got a 45-minute drive, so we got to get going. Well, we made it to Calgary. This is Brian.
Hello, everyone.
He's going to be coming along on this trip with us, so pretty good so far. It's way warmer in Calgary already than it was back in Saskatoon, so that's already pretty awesome.
And no snow either.
Yeah, no snow at all, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go get ready for the next flight, I guess. Got 2 more to go, so pretty good. We got to San Francisco, which is where one of our connecting flights is to get to Fresno, and we have a pretty long layover in this city, so there's quite a few cool things to see here, so we figured we'd get out of the airport and check them out. I'm actually looking at the Golden Gate Bridge right now. It's pretty cool to see. What do you think, dude?
Man, it's so cool. It's so nice here too.
Yeah,
so warm.
The weather's unreal too. Like, what was it, 0 degrees back in Saskatoon, which is actually pretty warm for back home, but you smell the ocean and it's pretty cool here. So they got a little gift shop and information center here, and they got a little bit of the cable that goes across that bridge here. That is gnarly. Awesome. Well, we were on the bridge for like 2 minutes, but we've been here, we've seen it now, so gotta run back to the airport, otherwise we're gonna miss that other flight. But it was cool to see. Awesome stuff. Well, we made it to the show. It's Tuesday today. We're gonna go check it out for the first time. It's looking pretty big.
Oh, I'm pumped already.
Yeah, dude.
Look at all this equipment.
Look at all the JCBs, man.
Look at that cute little guy.
We're at the World Ag Expo today, and we're gonna go into the dairy center. So this entire building behind me here is pretty big, and we're gonna go in there and see what they got in there for dairy. So we're at the Teat Wan booth here, They got some pretty cool stuff. So post dipping is what we do with our milk claws, the ADF milk claw. So this is another pretty interesting solution. This arm will go back and forth on a rail in front or behind the cows, and it'll stick out and spray a post dip on the cow, and it'll even pre-dip the cows when the parlor's loaded. So all you gotta do is clean the cow, which is pretty cool. Apparently it's the first of its kind. I've never seen something like that before. It's pretty cool. And then here we have, this is for a rotary. So as the cow spins past, the arm will stick out, and I assume post dip and pre-dipping as well. So pretty cool stuff here.
The company name is Pulley System.
Pulley System.
And this one is the F488, the model.
Right on, thanks. So we're here at the Pulley System booth, and they have some pretty cool stuff for cleaning and prepping the teats for milking. So this is a brush. It sprays some water on the cow's teat, and it just spins these brushes and cleans her and gets her ready for milking. And they've got a pretty cool display here with some fake teats, and you can just see exactly how that would work. So yeah, stick your finger in there too. Awesome. And then another cool thing they have here is this teat dip cup. I guess basically it's just going to supply the post and pre-dip, I'm sure, and you can dip your cows with it, and you never have to fill your teat cup up with product anymore. So pretty cool stuff.
So you need debris here. We do hoof blocks, chunks of wood, and then they'll do, you know, twine, silage wrap, whatever gets into the pump is going to get chopped.
As we go. So this is basically a display. In the barns we have a lot of manure that we got to pump around the place, and it's kind of like a nightmare for every dairy farmer, I guess, to get that pump plugged up, and this pump just cuts everything up. They got a pretty cool display here where they're just sending all kinds of stuff through that pump, and it's chopping it up really good. You guys can see that in the water that's here. It's pretty cool. Awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
So we got some mensch equipment behind us. Our tire scraper that we use to clean the alleys in our freestall barn is built by this company, Mensch, and they got some pretty cool equipment here at the show. So the first thing is a sand thrower. This is a self-propelled sand thrower. You just dump the sand in the box back there, and it's got a sand thrower in the front here. So I guess it conveys it out onto here from the box, and it'll shoot it right into the beds. So I guess this unit here has some crab steering as well. The front and rear axles will turn.
It really helps for some of our barns in Saskatchewan. So our whole barn is covered, right? So when you drive this around, you need to get around tight corners so you can turn them all so it does really sharp turns.
And then this thing here is a slurry truck. So you can see there's a scraper out front, and it sucks the manure out of the alleys into the tank. So these guys will be cleaning out a barn, and they won't be pushing the manure into a slot like we do, or a pit. They'll just suck it up in this truck and bring it right away to their manure pit, which is pretty cool. And I think some guys will actually spread it straight onto the fields too. But it's another cool piece of equipment. So we're at the Supreme mixer wagon booth now. They got a ton of mixer wagons. So this is a 1200T. The one that we have back at home is a 900T. And you can see this thing's got 2 axles, which is pretty sweet. And it's just got a side dumper. So we got the dog leg in front of the mixer wagon that kind of conveyors it into the feed bunks and in the cow barn. And then this thing's just got a door on the side to drive up and down alleys. I'm always telling Dad that we got to get one of these 1200Ts instead of the 900T next time, because it's pretty close to overflowing pretty much every morning. But I haven't had any success with that yet. Yeah, so that small one back there is the one that we have at home. This thing's big.
Big.
Yeah. So this wagon has a door at the back of the wagon. And then this wagon here actually has 2 doors on each side of the wagon. And this is the kind that we have. It's just got the conveyor out front with the door in the front as well. So depending on what you want for your operation, you can order them however they come and whatever you want. So it's pretty cool. So we got another Canadian company here, Noon. They deal with manure handling equipment, and we actually have a couple of Noon pumps in our barns, 2 of them. So pretty cool to see them at the show here. This is another manure vacuum truck. So yeah, same thing. You hop up in the cab here, and they got the scraper up front into the tank. And it's just a replacement for alley scrapers or tractor scraping your alleys in the barn. And it's a pretty slick looking machine. They got some other pumps and other stuff here too we'll check out. So these are kind of like the pumps that we have in the barn, except that's pretty big. So we're here at the Valmetal booth with the owner, I guess.
One of the owners.
One of the owners. Yeah, he's got a pretty cool feed pusher over here we're gonna take a look at. So we have the Lely Juno in our barn, but this is a pretty different looking unit right here. So could you explain this a little bit to us?
Yes, of course. This unit, we call it the Pro Feed 2020. It does the same job as any other feed pushers, of course, but big difference is we use an auger to make the feed to make it more fluffy, and bring the smell out.
It kind of mixes the feed up a little bit.
Kind of mixes the feed a little bit. Thank you. To my knowledge, it's got the biggest battery capacity.
Okay.
So it can run for a longer time and do longer barns. So basically, we put magnets on the ground, so it's very simple to use or to reconfigure.
Okay.
It's very simple. There's a touch screen, or you can also use your tablet to program it.
Well, thanks for showing us that.
All right, well, thank you.
Thanks. Well, we found the Lely booth, and that's a familiar booth to us because we got the Lely Juno. They got some pretty cool stuff here on display. So I guess this is kind of the guts of a robotic milker. You got the brush. This first cleans the cow's teats, and then you got the actual milk cups, I guess. They go onto the cow's teats, and you can see the process it goes through. It's in the jar, and that's kind of the interior of a Lely milking robot. We have our friend here, the Juno. This is a newer Lely Juno. This thing's actually got some pretty cool upgrades compared to ours as well. I believe you can lift that skirt up off the concrete when you're crossing, for example, a crossover in your barn where the cows are walking. There's a bit of manure there. You can lift that skirt up, get it off the ground so you don't track any manure into the cow's feed as it continues to go down the barn and push up the feed. So this thing's pretty cool and looking good on display here. And they got their cow brush on display here. It's a little bit different than our De Laval brushes. It's just got the one access, but yeah, it'll do a great job scratching the cow's back. So we're at a booth. I've never heard of this company before, but apparently they make a bunch of rotaries and all kinds of milking equipment. It's Maduro, and this is their booth. So this will be their post dipper on the rotary. So this is kind of like a small section of rotary, and this arm will just stick out underneath the cow as the rotary's spinning and spray that iodine post dip on her teats when she's done being milked. And they got a pretty cool little rotary on display here. Some pretty realistic looking cows. So we're at another dairy booth here called Hansen Industries, and they got quite a bit of stuff on display here. So the first thing I'll show you guys is this feed pusher. Same kind of idea as the Lely Juno and that other orange feed pusher we saw today from Valmetal. And they also got, I guess here is the same self lockers that we have in our barn, And then they got a mister for the cows right behind the self lockers. So that mister will spray a little bit of cool water on the cows while they're up eating feed and keep them cool, which isn't the biggest deal where we're from, but out here in California, where it gets way hotter than back home, they want to keep the cows as cool as possible and comfortable while they're eating food. Another pretty cool item they have at this booth is this robotic feeder. So this is like a feed wagon, and it just drives up and down the barn by itself. It's got some mixers in the bottom. I'll show you guys here. So those augers, I guess, are gonna mix up the feed. And this is probably the coolest thing I've seen at this booth. It's a robotic arm that gives cows needles. So Alright, so we're here with Alikachuk, and he's going to explain this fancy yellow arm to us.
Yeah, so how's it going, guys? Co-founded Farm Robotics with Marina Dykstra. He's a dairyman in Southern California, and really we are automating the shot delivery process for dairy and beef cows with robots. And so in this setup that we have here of SureShot, essentially the cow will exit the milking barn. She'll be scanned by our RFID system that'll then talk to the computer in the herd manager's office. And from there, the computer will tell the robot what type of shot to give. So after she receives a vaccine or reproductive product, that info is then recorded in real time in the herd management program. And from there, she'll be released and she'll return back to her pen after her treatment. So appreciate you having interest in it.
Yeah, thanks for showing us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this kind of an arm would be pretty cool, like just automatically giving shots. It's a pretty labor-intensive job.
Yes.
Even on our dairy farm of only 300 cows, I say only now because we've been touring dairies out here with 5,000 cows. But it's still a lot of work on a farm our size, and it's cool to see something like this. It's the first time I've ever seen it before, so thanks for showing us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a pretty interesting booth behind us here. Mueller, they do all the milk cooling for pretty much most dairy farms. There are on our farm as well. The 2 condensing units just outside of our milk parlor barn. And they got a pretty cool vertical milk tank here on display at the show. You can see this is a little bit different than our tank. Our tank is horizontal on the ground, and this one's just vertical. I believe also most of the time this thing will be put outside of the barn and exposed to the elements, so pretty cool. We're at the Gia booth now. It's a familiar brand to us because we got the Gia pump for the liquid manure and the tank as well. They make a bunch of parlor equipment and milking equipment as well, so we'll check that out here. So this right here is Gia's milking robot. This is pretty cool. They got their milk claws on display here. And you guys remember maybe a couple months ago we installed some clips in our parlor to hold the milk line up. And this is, I guess, Gia's take on it. And I actually really like this system. You can just use the rubber balls here to adjust the angle that pipe is hanging at while the cow's being milked. So it's pretty cool, pretty simple. And I really like that. So what they got on display here is pretty cool. It's one bay of their robotic rotary milking parlor. So basically they'll have a rotary just like a normal one with 20, 30, maybe 40 bays on it. And part of the robotic milker is in here. So no one's hanging, no one's cleaning the cow. The parlor actually does it all itself. So you can see there, that's the actual robotic system that's gonna start milking this cow. And that'll be in every single bay on the rotary parlor. And it's basically like having 20 robotic milkers go on a ring around with all the cows on it. It's pretty cool. And then this right here is their conventional rotary. So yeah, you still have to hang these milkers by hand. But again, it's pretty cool. So now we're standing out in front of the Robotic booth, and a couple of months ago we made a tour video of a new dairy farm in Saskatchewan, and they had a Robotic rotary installed on it, so that's pretty cool. We'll go through the booth here. So they got a cow brush here. Again, it's quite a bit simpler than the De Laval brush, just on the backs only, and that looks pretty solid. And then over here they got some examples of rotary parlors. Right here underneath the display of the rotary, you can see the tracks that it'll run and make its turns on. And it looks like they even got a motor for the turning. Pretty cool to see. It's a pretty unique booth. You can definitely tell this is Robotic with all the blue and orange. So that was the first day at the World Ag Expo. We kind of stuck to dairy farming today. I think we'll check out some more equipment tomorrow and maybe look at some orchard stuff. Thanks for watching today's video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.